Hello everyone, this is Michael over at Flygrip, and every time a phone becomes popular I usually get a slew of emails asking whether or not the Flygrip works with it or not. And this time we've gotten a lot of inquiries about whether or not the Otterbox Defender case will work with it. They were concerned about the material and also the little ridges that are on the Otterbox, and it will work. You just have to ask us when placing the order for what we call a special primer. It looks like a normal alcohol wipe, but it's not. It's a different kind of solution, and what it does is prep the area for the best amount of adhesion. So I'm going to do a little demo showing how to install it, and we're going to go from there. So what I do is, before you peel up the backer, you want to situate it where you want it. I usually like it pretty low, and then take some blue painter's masking tape, or you could use regular masking tape. Just the blue type is a little low tack, easy to pull off, but either one will work. And what you want to do is mask the area that you don't plan on putting the primer on. And the primer is just a clear solution, some chemical that really does help well with the bonding. Sorry, it's a little awkward doing this in front. The camera's right in front of me, so bear with me. Alright, so that's what you want to do. You want to mask that off, and then you open up the primer, and what's inside the primer is like a little, not like a wet nap, but like a spongy kind of material. And all you want to do is really just make sure that it's wet. Alright, that way you're just affecting the area that you masked off. There's no need to get it on the rest of the case. It won't necessarily ruin the case, but it will kind of leave like a little glistening on the case, and in light you will see that it'll look slightly different. You know, right now it's wet, but it would be like kind of glistening. And what it is really, I think it opens up the pores of the material to really let the adhesive stick well to it. So what you want to do is, once you wipe that down, you want it to dry. Usually it takes about 2 minutes to dry. I mean, you could kind of wave it around a little bit. As you can see, it looks a little different color than the rest of it. You can see how it. Oops. Well, while that's drying, just a little comparison's sake, I don't use the Otterbox case. I know a lot of people like it. It definitely has serious amount of protection, but for me it definitely adds a lot of bulk to it. These are the cases that we give. It's about, for the Galaxy Note, it's about a ½ inch deep, little hair below a ½ inch deep, and this is about 3/4 of an inch, so it's almost a 1/4 of an inch thicker. And I don't know if you can really tell right there. There you go, you can kind of see there. It's almost a 1/4 of an inch thicker. Also, one thing that I particularly don't care for me, for cases, I like when the case has the opening for the phone rocker switch and the power button. One, when not looking at the phone, you could you know where it is right away, and I find that it's a lot easier to push this button, especially when it's in your hand. I could easily hit it without that much pressure, whereas when you use it on cases that have it covered up and really protected like this, you have to give it a lot of oomph, and I'm sure anyone that uses it, you know, they have to give it a lot like that. Whereas when the Flygrip's installed on it, I'll demo it later, but with one hand I typically do that. But when it's very difficult to push in, it's a lot harder, and it's just, for me, it's a lot less conducive to being that productive, because it just makes you expel more energy than you really need to for just turning on your phone. Alright, so we're ready to install it. So you take the Flygrip, you still peel it off like any other installation. There's plenty of videos online, so it shows you what to do. So what you want to do is then stick it right where you set it up, and you want to give it a lot of pressure. With your hand alone, I would say typically about 2 minutes, and then I would put a book on it, a heavy book, and just let it sit for at least a ½ an hour. 3M recommends that you do it for 24 hours. I know most people are not going to want to wait 24 hours, and as long as you're not trying to hang from it, it'll be fine. But you know, you really should let it cure, and that's the proper way of doing it. But for demo purposes, I'm not going to wait that long because I'm not really going to go crazy and whip the phone around. But once it's on, you could peel off the tape. Okay, now that it's on, for those who haven't used Flygrip before, you're going to see that it's a lot easier to use the phone, because now you can hit all parts of the screen with one hand. And on a big phone like this, especially with a case like this, you're adding at least, I don't know, definitely over 1/4 of an inch, maybe 3/8 of an inch bigger left to right as well as top to bottom. So now you made the phone even bigger, and when you're holding it, I mean, typically it'd be very difficult to use this phone with one hand, especially with this case on it. But with the Flygrip, definitely makes it a lot easier, and also works as a kickstand in both vertical and in horizontal. So that's pretty much it. That's the install on an Otterbox Defender case. If you have a case that you're not sure if it's going to work or not, feel free to email us. I mean, there's so many cases out there, and when you consider how many phones and how many models, I mean, I know Otterbox has more than one case for this phone as well as the iPhone. So every manufacturer has multiple amount of cases for multiple amount of phones. There's no way we could keep on top of every single phone, and if they make a change to the composition of the materials they use, we can't guarantee whether or not it's going to work. But definitely the cases we give away free with the Flygrip will work great, and definitely offers protection. Not as much as this. This is really super heavy duty, but you know, also it's going to add that much more bulk to it. And as I mentioned before, typically when I pull this right out of my pocket into one hand, I usually hit the power button like this, and it just gives a little more effort to do it. Whereas when it's in a case like this, you could hit the power button with minimal effort. Alright everyone, that's pretty much it for today. And if you have any other questions, feel free to ask, and email us at info@flygrip.com. We usually get back to everyone pretty quickly. And please subscribe to the YouTube channel, because we try to show benefits of the Flygrip with different phones, and as things come up or different announcements, we like to be able to share it with you. So take care everyone. Bye bye.